All right, my dears, here we are today. If you're watching this later on YouTube, the playlist we're going to do today is Dots. So that's on Terry Lynn Wilder. So we'll have that ready and I'll tell you when to push play. But we'll start on our mats, on our backs. So in Seattle, there's been a big uptick of smoke coming in from all of the wildfires that are happening in California and Oregon. And there's just been this sense of sadness that I've been feeling about climate change and the just absolute appalling thought that some folks might think it's not real. I just don't understand at this point how we can't be faced with climate change. And then what do we do? So there's all these things that come up in our lives. And the one thing I know to be true is that yoga can offer us a space to just be with what we don't know, to just be with that sense of urgency. We have to do something this decade. What do we do? The unknown, all of those things that can cause so much anxiety. Yoga fortifies us in a way so that we can hold it. And that's important. Practices like meditation, where we just simply try to quiet the mind, can allow space for ideas to drop in. And if enough of us are having a practice where our mind is quiet and ideas are dropping in, then perhaps, just maybe, we can create solutions together. So today our meditation is going to be on our back. We'll have our, we want one underneath our knees. Always really lovely. A blanket underneath the head. So this is kind of Ardha Shavasana. If you don't have a bolster or a pillow, you can always just bend your knees and place your feet flat. Allow your knees to tent in toward one another. We'll take a few moments to recognize our breath. Where are you breathing? Where do you locate it in your physical body? What is the quality of that breath? The temperature, the texture? And begin to feel your connection with earth. The parts of your body touching the floor, touching the earth. And we might notice your head is on the floor. Your neck spine, your cervical spine curves away from the floor. The upper back, mid-back, thoracic spine curves toward the floor. Low back, lumbar spine away from the floor. And then your sacrum and hips, the lowest part of your spine, again toward the floor. You might see those curves like gentle waves in the ocean. You might imagine your breath like gentle waves on the ocean. There's a rise of your belly, your chest on the inhale. There's a fall of the belly and chest on the exhale. Sometimes the more subtle, the more intriguing. So don't force your breath to be bigger. Just notice. We'll follow this idea of waves of breath, rise and fall, curves of the spine away and towards the earth for the next few moments. And then my invitation is to feel how this breath also moves the ribs out horizontally. So like you're getting wider on the inhale. And then longer on the exhale. We'll follow that pattern of inhaling into the side body, the ribs widening. And then exhaling, the contraction, subtle, right? But the length that comes from that. If it's hard for you to feel, you could even place your hands on your ribs. Now, the final part of this breathing journey, can you imagine breathing into the back of your ribs, your back body? You might feel on the inhale more contact, the back of your ribs to the floor. And then on the exhale, again, that feeling of length through the spine. The idea here, you could even breathe into your low back, your kidneys. With your awareness, where can your breath move? And then for the next few moments, you might try to relax your shoulders. I noticed mine were just tense. The next few moments, we'll think of all three. So you inhale, feel the front body, the side body, and the back body. Breath expanding in all directions. And on the exhale, a very gentle drawing in of your belly to support that length in your spine. You might notice here where your breath wants to move more readily, or maybe just your awareness moves there more readily. And try to let go of your shoulders, Terry Lynn. and not force anything. Again, so it might be very subtle. You might even feel like, I don't really feel my breath there. That's okay. We'll just stay with this awareness for the next few moments, recognizing and acknowledging what a gift the breath is, what a privilege. So here on Whidbey Island, the air is more clear than in Seattle. In Seattle last year, I remember the smoke really being an oppressive force, and how many folks live with the air quality being oppressive all the time due to pollution and fires and all of the things that we have done to create this climate that we are all living in. So that when we can take the time to really truly breathe, to be with our breath, to notice, fill our body with prana, life force, through the breath. It's a privilege and a gift. I'm going to do some ohms here on our back, and it really does feel quite differently, I find, when I'm lying down versus seated or standing. So we'll see where we feel the vibration. You can keep your hands at your sides, or if you'd like, you can place them somewhere on your body, your belly, your chest, your ribs, so that you can feel that vibration. So 3 ohms, deep breath in. All right, my dears, let's roll over onto one side and push ourselves up to a seat. And we'll start our playlist here. Pull it up. 3, 2, 1, push play. We'll inhale and reach our arms out and up. On the exhale, place your left hand down. Right arm reaches across the body and maybe even grabs hold of your own head. And take a few moments really to breathe into this right side body. Root your right hip and knee as best you can toward the earth. You might lean back into your hand. Just notice where your breath can move. We'll come back to center and up and over to the other side. So again, left hand might grab the right side of the head, root through your left hip and knee. I notice if I bring my knee down a little more, how much I feel that stretch in the side body. Allow your breath to go there the best you can. And we'll come back to center. And then place your hands on your knees. And it's sort of like stirring the pot. So we're going through a bit of a cat back as we lean back and a bit of a cow back as we go forward. But we're just going round and round. I don't know about you, but I can feel sticky parts in my spine and my ribs where I don't want to move as readily as other places feel more open. So just kind of take note of that if that's true for you. Then we'll go the other direction. And then as we come forward, we'll stretch our hands way out. And then forehead toward the earth. Maybe it's your elbows are down, your forearms are down. Maybe you create a pillow with your own arms. Maybe you're up higher. In this kind of forward folded position, can you breathe into the back and feel the back ribs expand? And we'll slowly come back up. Ooh. Before we change the cross of our legs, we're going to interlace the fingers behind our head, bring our shoulders down, push our head into the hands, and just go side to side. So you can go at your own rhythm. This can be done really slow or a little bit faster. I like to close my eyes, but other folks like to stare at one spot. So whatever works for you. Again, just waking up the spine and the ribs a little, draw your belly in, see how that might make a difference. And then come back to center. Change the cross of your legs. And we'll do that whole thing again. Arms reach up. Come down to the left. Right arm reaches for the left side of the head. Lean back, breathe into the right side body, root down through your right knee, your right hip. And then come back to center and over to the other side. Root through your left hip and knee. Come back to center. And then hands on the knees. And again, that's stirring the pot. And then the other direction. And come to center. Stretch the hands out. Forearms, forehead, maybe toward the earth. Try to breathe into your back. As we rise up back to center, we'll interlace the fingers behind our head, push our head into our hands, and start to move side to side. Drawing the belly in to support the length of the low back. Going at your own rhythm, your own pace. Eyes can be open or closed. And back to center, we'll release our hands and come to tabletop, hands and knees. So very similar to what we were just doing, but changing our relationship with gravity now. Knees underneath the hips, hands underneath your shoulders. We'll start to stir the pot here. So going through cow and cat and around. And notice, like, what do you feel here? Do you feel similar place in your body, tight or tender, as you did when we were seated, or is it totally different? Where does your breath move? Similarly or different? Just notice. And then go the other direction. And we'll come back to center, inhale, exhale, downward facing dog, and we might sway and pedal. Shoulders away from the ears, ground down through the pointer finger knuckle in particular. And at some point, we'll come to stillness for about 10 breaths. Where's your breath moving? We'll look forward, walk or hop ourselves to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to stand. Mountain pose. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Right toes step to the back of the mat. Dip the hips, lift the heart, breathe in. Straighten that left leg, breathe out. Stay for an inhale. Bend the knee. Inhale here. Exhale, straighten. Breathe in here. Bend the knee. One more, just this way. And then make your way to the long edge of the mat. We'll halfway lift and make sure our feet are parallel and wide. And then on the exhale, forward fold, you might have your hands on blocks or books or pillows. Soften your knees a tiny bit, especially if you like to push them back like I do. Root through the pinky toe edge sides of your feet. Notice where your breath moves. On your next inhale, halfway lift. Spin to the right, facing the back of your mat. Bend your knee, lift your heart, breathe in. Straighten that right leg, breathe out. Stay for an inhale. Bend the knee. 2 more times at your own pace. Next pose, plank. Downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Draw the knee in toward your belly, chest or nose. Step the foot forward between your hands. Dip the hips, lift the heart, breathe in. Straighten the leg, breathe out. Stay for an inhale. Bend the knee. 2 more at your own pace. When you're ready, make your way to that long edge of your mat. Feet are parallel and wide. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Soften your knees a little. Let your head hang if possible. We'll halfway lift on the inhale. Spin to the right, facing forward once more, bending the right knee, dip the hips, lift the heart, breathe in. Straighten that right leg, breathe out. Stay for an inhale. Bend the knee. 2 more at your own pace. When you're ready, plank pose. Downward facing dog. Walk or hop to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Rise up, inhale. Mountain pose. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, long spine, inhale. Step your left toes back and bring your left knee to the earth. Come up, low lunge. Right hand on right thigh. Left hand to the right side of the head. So we're leaning again to the right. Draw your right hip back a smidge. Tuck your tail a smidge. Breathe into the left ribs. Come back to center, interlace the fingers behind your head, lengthen your neck. Push your head into your hands, tuck your tail, send your hips forward, your heart up. Keep lengthening the back of your neck. Feel your shoulder blades. Can you breathe there? Great, we'll release our hands, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee up, straighten the front leg and lift the foot if you can. Bow your head towards your shin. And then we'll spin toward that long edge of the mat. Halfway lift, feet are wide and parallel. Forward fold. Notice where your breath moves. We'll halfway lift. When you're ready, breathe in. Spin to the left. Framing that left foot, bring your right knee to the earth. Low lunge coming up. Your left forearm on your left thigh. Right arm reaches for the left side of the head, lean to the left. Breathe into your right side body. Come back to center, interlace the fingers behind your head, lengthen your neck. Push your head into your hands, send the heart forward, draw the belly in, send the hips forward. Back of the neck long. And come back, frame that front foot, tuck the back toes under, lift that back knee up, straighten the left leg, lift the foot. Plank. Down dog. Right leg lifts. Draw the right knee in toward your belly, chest, or nose. Step that right foot forward, bring your left knee down. Low lunge. And this time, we're gonna send our hips forward, but we wanna tuck the tail. And then just feel into where the front of that left hip says that's enough. And then reach your arms up. Perhaps interlacing the fingers, pointer fingers up. Anjanae Asana. And then my dears, will frame the front foot, straighten just the front leg. So Ardha or half. Hanuman Asana, monkey pose. And toes up toward the sky. You might look over your right shoulder. And feel into the calf and the hamstrings here. A couple more breaths. And then we'll place that foot down, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee up, and make your way to the long edge of the mat. Feet are wide and parallel. Fold forward. Halfway lift on the next inhale. Spin to the left, facing forward. Bring your right knee to the earth. Anjanae Asana, low lunge. So we're going to come up, tuck the tail, and start to really send the hips forward. Heart up. Arms up. You might interlace the fingers, pointer fingers up. And then frame that front foot, straighten just the front leg. You might send the heel forward. You might look left. Flex the toes, dear. Breathe into the hamstring, could you imagine? And then draw that heel back in, bend that left knee, tuck your back toes under, lift the back knee up, plank. Downward facing dog. Shoulders away from the ears. Walk or hop to the top. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Rise up, inhale. Palms to the heart. So our flow today is a shoulder strengthener. Yeah. We're not going to do chaturanga unless you really want to. You can, of course, have that agency to do it on your own. But instead, we're going to do Surya A with hold plank, right side, side plank, left side, side plank, hold plank, down dog. Yeah. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Step back plank. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Come to your right side, side plank. Any leg variation. This is my favorite, where you step that left foot halfway up the mat. Deep breath in. Back to plank. Inhale here. Exhale here. Left side, side plank. Any leg variation. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Plank pose. Down dog. Look forward. Walk or hop to the top. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise up. Mountain pose. Arms up, inhale. Fold forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Plank. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Left side, side plank. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Back to plank. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Right side, side plank. Back to plank. Breath in. Down dog, exhale. Walk or hop to the top. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise up. Mountain pose. So we're gonna do about 5 more of those. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. Plank. Right side, side plank. Plank. Left side, side plank. Plank. Down dog. Walk or hop. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise up. Mountain pose. Arms up, inhale. Fold forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Plank. Left side, side plank. Plank. Right side, side plank. Plank. Down dog. Walk or hop. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise up. Mountain pose. Arms up. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Plank. Right side. Plank. Left side. Plank. Down dog. Walk or hop. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise up. Mountain pose. Arms up, inhale. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Plank. Left side. Plank. Right side. Plank. Down dog. Walk or hop top. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise up. Mountain. Arms up. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Plank. Right side. Plank. Left side. Plank. Down dog. Walker hop. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise up. Mountain pose. Last one, arms up. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Plank. Left side, side plank. Plank. Right side. Plank. Down dog. Walker hop. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Rise up. Mountain pose. Reach your right knee up. Take your right knee open to the right. Tree. Arms reach up. Right knee lifts up. Airplane. Right foot lands down. Both legs are straight. Draw your left hip back. Reach behind your back for opposite wrists or elbows. Lengthen the heart forward. Think almost cow to your back. Come down with a real flat back. Keep drawing the left hip back. And as soon as you feel like your back might want to round, head toward the shin. Release your arms. You might have blocks that frame your front foot. Halfway lift. Draw that left hip back. Put your left hand on your sacrum. Draw your belly and lengthen out. And then left arm might lift, revolve triangle. Frame your front foot and bow. Plank. Lower all the way down to the floor. Sphinx pose. Elbows are underneath your shoulders. Bring your shoulders back and down. Draw your belly in and up. Relax the booty. Right ear to right shoulder. Chin to chest. Left ear to left shoulder. Chin to chest. Push into your wrists. Feel your shoulder blades come toward one another. You can draw your belly in. Try to wiggle out the booty. And then draw the heart forward. Look forward and down your nose. Sphinx. Try to keep your chest at the height it is. Can you imagine? Lift your hands. Walk them back by your ribs. Downward facing dog. Look forward. Walk or hop. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Rise up. Palms pass through the heart, mountain pose. Left knee lifts. Left knee opens. Tree. Arms reach up. Left knee lifts. Airplane. Land the foot down. Both legs are straight, drawing that right hip back. Reach behind your back for opposite wrist or elbows. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Pyramid, so continue to draw the right hip back. Think about cow through the back. So as soon as your back wants to round, that's far enough. And then forehead toward the shin. And we'll release our hands. And halfway lift our torso, framing the front foot perhaps with blocks. Draw that right hip back, right hand touches the sacrum, kind of a cow shape to the back. Left hand might be on a block, right arm might lift, revolve triangle. And then fold over that front leg. Plank. Lower to the earth. Place your hands underneath your forehead for a few moments. Wiggle your hips side to side. And then as you come up, we're going to do Sphinx on the left. Yeah, so elbow underneath the shoulder. Bend your right knee. See if you can reach back with your right hand for that foot. And then maybe even the ankle where you flex the foot. We'll kick into the foot. This is like half Dhanurasana, Ardha Dhanurasana, or bow. You might lift your left elbow. You might kick into the right hand. And then as you come down, trying to draw that heel in toward the booty if you can, tuck your tail. Stretching the quad, making a pillow for your head with your left arm. Keep tucking the tail. And then release that side, windshield wiper the legs. Right arm is like Sphinx, so the elbow is under the shoulder. Left hand reaches back for that left foot or maybe the ankle. Whew. Kick the foot into the hand and maybe lift your right elbow. And then as you come down, draw that heel in toward the booty. Create a pillow with your right arm. Tuck the tail. And then release and windshield wiper your legs. And then always choice. We can come back to Sphinx. We can bring our knees wide and the soles of our feet together. From here, we can even lift our elbows. Very back strengthening here. Or you can reach back for your heels for Dhanurasana bow pose. One or both. Wherever you are, could your full presence be there? Without striving, oh, I should get to Dhanurasana bow pose. Just be with what's true right now. And then let's rest. And so while we're in this position, we're going to do a little bit of shoulder love. So your left arm is going to come out like a cactus. Yeah? And then right knee draws in toward your belly. Some of us already feel the front of that left shoulder. And if that's true, that is a good place to stay. Some of us might pivot so that we're more on our left side. And that right knee is straight up. The right foot is in front of the straight left leg, kind of like that side plank variation. You might brace your right hand with your right thigh if you're choosing this variation. And just try to breathe into the front of that left shoulder, the pec, all the little sweet muscles that connect up into that shoulder. So I find with hypermobile people, less is more. Some folks bend both of their knees and come over onto their back like bridge with the arm cactus or extended. But for me, I find that's too much, and that this is a safer place to stay where I'm actually stretching the muscle, but the joint feels stabilized. I've had to really learn to stop seeking the biggest sensation in my body because it gets me into trouble. So about 5 more breaths here. Great, and then let's come back onto our stomachs and stabilize ourselves back in Sphinx. So for many yogis, Sphinx doesn't feel like much of a back bend, but it really can be a very steadying, stabilizing posture for our shoulders and the ability to kind of notice, so our shoulder joints are muscle dependent joints. And if we really overstretch the muscles and ligaments, we can get really hypermobile in the shoulders. And so we back bend from our shoulders versus our thoracic spine, which doesn't want to move very much, right? So here, if you really think about pushing into the floor, drawing your heart forward, you should feel your shoulder blades come down and toward one another. Draw your belly in to support the low back. It can be a big, experience. Very strengthening. Keep working those shoulders down and back. It's a thing. Notice when you get complacent, you want to kind of drop into it like this, like we could hang out here all day, right? But to really push in and pull, it's different. All right, my dears, let's do the other side. The right arm is out like a cactus. The left knee goes in toward the belly now. And that might be where you stay. Some of you might come and shift to the left foot, left knee up in the air. And then you might give yourself a little nudge with that knee and hand. Breathe. And then we'll come back when you're ready into Sphinx. So equally push down into your wrists. You might even lift your fingers here so that the wrists and the pads of your thumb, the very bottoms of your hands toward your wrists connect. Pull the heart forward. Keep pushing, keep pulling, and breathe. And could you relax your butt by drawing your belly in just a little? And from here, we'll come over onto our backs. And as we come over onto our backs, you might have a blanket or a pillow to put between your knees. Gonna twist to the right. Something between the knees is really stabilizing for our sweet SI joints. And worry less about getting your left shoulder down. More about length in the low back. Left shoulder could even cactus if that feels okay. And reach. Slowly come back to center and pause before we go to the other side and just breathe and nose. Then we'll go to the other side. And see if that low back feels long. And then maybe that right arm comes to a cactus, shoulder might not be down. You could even put something underneath so it's less effort to hold. See what works for you. Come back to center, my dears, and we'll just kind of let our back settle for a moment. So even a lying twist, which might not feel like much to some of us, good to come to a neutral position for just a few breaths. Let the spine kind of settle back. And then left ankle, right knee for thread the needle. For thread the needle, you can just hold onto this left leg. Kind of a good idea to flex this left foot. You would flex the right foot if that helps you to remember. Or you could thread your arms through your legs and hold the back of that right thigh or even the front of the shin. Whatever feels natural and effortless through the upper body so that you can breathe. Focus awareness on the left hip. And then half happy baby with the left leg. So if you can, right arm stretches up overhead, right leg stretches long. You might, if you're like me, feel this pose almost more in the right front of the hip, the psoas, than even in the left. Notice what's true for you. Then right ankle, left knee, thread the needle. And flexing the right foot. My dears, we'll come to half happy baby, stretching the left leg long, left arm up overhead, right leg in happy baby. And my dears, if there's any other pose that will allow you to feel more ready for Shavasana, do that now, or maybe you feel ready. The shoulder stand is a pose that's good in your body. It's a great closer, I think. But if you're ready for Shavasana right now, awesome. I know I am. For a moment, again, notice where your breath resides. The chest, the movement of the breath, sides and back. When you're ready, coming to one side if that feels useful. And we'll rise back to a seat. And bringing our palms to whatever shape feels useful right now. Moment of gratitude for these beautiful, strong, supple bodies, for all they do for us. A moment of gratitude for the practice of yoga that's had so many different lineages and teachers from India who made this practice what it is here for us today. So much gratitude for teachers past, present, and future. One Om to close. In the spirit of peace, we say Shanti, Shalom, Salam, Amani, Maluhia, Irini, Shiakan, Jam, Pache, Paz. In the spirit of our collective truth and liberation, we say Ashe, Amin, Amen, blessed be, Kapu Aloha, in Lakach, Satnam, Namaste, Matakwayasan, Black Lives Matter.